Second. We're live. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Whiskey Crusaders here this evening. It's going to be Old Forester night. Got lots of cool fun stuff to talk to you guys about. Of course, our buddy Erik here as usual. So you'll probably see Erik a lot more, to be honest with you guys, in the near future. So get used to seeing him around. So he's a good guy. He's also, like I said, a fellow sommelier, level 1 here. So learning all this fun stuff. So we got back from the Texas Whiskey Festival judging here this past week down in Austin, so that was a blast. Say hi here to Brent and to James Morgan. I know you guys, since the usual going late, because that's what we're good at here on our show and all the good fun stuff. So let's see what ad we get. Oh, we got, hey, John, good to see you. We got Domino's. Not good pizza at all. Last time Galen was here, we ordered it because I don't think it was open. It was terrible. I don't know what this is. Some kind of weird puzzle game. Wordscapes. All right, that's the lovely ads for the day, so good for them. Lovely, lovely things. So we're down there today. Jason Coates, good to see you as well. So got to, like I said, judge some stuff, hang out in the vault. So, I think on Monday night, we drove down. Me and Stephanie were in the vault for about 5 hours, having a good time. So good times. Next couple of days, spend some time judging and spend some more time in the vault the next day. So had a really good time down there. It was a blast to get to try some new brands I hadn't had before, and to see some brands really improve was really cool. Show the results, I think, about a week or two is what Jake said, who runs Texas Whiskey Festival. The actual festival will be April 22nd down in Bee Cave, Texas. So, of course, anybody's welcome there. Just buy those tickets and go hang out there and try everything from that day. So there's a People's Choice Award as well. So there's also your judging when you get to go down there. So that was a lot of fun stuff. I got to bring back some fun things, which are really good, which you'll get to try while you're there. So this Balcones Texas Blue Corn finished a red wine cask. This stuff I thought was really, really good. So find that one at the Balcones table. And one that really surprised me, I thought was really good down there, which I had at the ball, was the Shire Distillery. And they got this Perchon. This is a sherry cask strength version there, and their French oak, and it was really, really nice. So I was really happy with that. So good to see people improving. It's like to try a lot of new brands I hadn't had before, so that was a lot of fun. Say hi to Andy. Good to see you. Saw some Peerless Double Oak. Very nice. I assume that's the bourbon there, Andy. I know there's supposed to be a new rye that's a double oak that I saw coming out, which I'll be excited to give that one a whirl at this point in time. I'm going to ask you guys about Devil's River and any good with the BS Proof and the Distiller Select. We try to pick, I know from Irene Tan out of her store up there in Connecticut, that was one of the best I've ever had from Devil's River. Now, that was a single barrel, and of course, Irene's palate is freaking amazing. So, it's kind of hard with that one. It was like chocolate fudge. That was really good. I've had the Distiller Select. It was okay. Now, we did have a really good Devil's River when we were down there in the judging, so that was really nice. The 117 is probably good. That's going to be closer to, since it's, barrel strength. I'd probably go with that one over the Distiller Select personally. I think that's going to be a better thing for your money and just tastes better. I agree, James. We support lots of Texas economy, buy lots of Texas whiskey. Speaking of the Texas whiskey I tried, so this was fun. Of course, obviously, we all know that Daniel Whittington is the head there of the Whiskey Trust. So this is one Daniel made and blended, is this Magnificent Beast, the Jackalope one. This is the best thing they've ever put out at the Crowded Barrel. This thing is freaking awesome. So if you get a chance to go down there and try that or buy a bottle, really good stuff. Got to hang out with Daniel for a couple of days. So that was a lot of fun. So good fun times. Let's see what other fun stuff in the news. Like I said, it's been a very busy week. Our buddy JD there sent us this awesome Lithuanian vodka, which I'm super stoked to try. So focus. There we go. And then the rest of it is in fun words I can't read. So let's see if you can see that. There we go. See? Words I can't read in Cyrillic. So that's fun. So, and then he sent us some cool samples. So we got to do that. And had some some good times. Ooh, the Balcones peated single malt. Oh, that's good stuff, John. Really, really good stuff. So good fun times. All right, Ben Demon, good to see you as well. All right, so we're here all four courses tonight is the Old Forester. And I know we talked the history for it in review, but we're going to let Erik give you some history on it because it's been a long time since we talked. I know we did that back and forth with the Whiskey Row maybe a year or so ago. This one did the whole lineup and a couple more we don't even have, but we've got 14 or 15 for you guys tonight, so it should be a good time.
That's right.
So I'm going to let Erik talk a little bit. I'm going to pour some whiskey first while Erik tells us a little bit of history of Old Forester.
Yeah, Old Forester. And also, too, we're generally trying to do this kind of as a test run for what we hope will be our really fun store down here in Texas, where you can come and do some tasting, get some education, have a little bit of liquid enjoyment while you're at it. But we're kind of doing this as a test run. So we figured we kind of do one of probably the greatest distillery in some ways. Not always, but in some ways. It's certainly got a lot of history. It's certainly quintessential bourbon, and Old Forester came up into play, and it's got so many good options. And this is a great way, we thought, too, to show the things that a company can do, where we can do stuff. We can have, if somebody comes in, they're not too familiar with whiskey, we can teach them about the basics of Old Forester. But Old Forester, as we know, has a lot of really cool, interesting stuff as well. That's much more rare and much more interesting, and we can do that at our place as well, too, as time goes along. So basically, Old Forester has been around. They're best known for kind of really starting officially around 1870. But George Garwin Brown was the guy who kind of started the whole thing back in the day. He was a pharmaceutical salesman back then, which means basically they didn't fully understand a lot of medicine back then at that time. Yeah. And pretty much the only thing that worked consistently was alcohol. So, yeah. But you never quite knew. What better way if you got a cold, you don't feel well, than just drink something, what they called back then patent medicines. Yeah. They could say anything they wanted on them. There's endless amounts of patent medicines. My dad and I collect these bottles from basically the Civil War up to about 1906, when pretty much Teddy Roosevelt banned it with the Pure Food and Drug Act, as I recall. That was basically to say, if you say it's in the bottle, it better say so on the label out there, and it better actually be in there, or else the federal government is going to come after you. But before 1906, they could put on whatever they wanted. And there was sometimes alcohol in there, and may not be good alcohol that could kill you.
There's a good chance.
So as a result of that, a lot of people were very leery about buying this new thing called bourbon back in the day. And Mr. Brown was very big about being a pharmaceutical salesman. He wanted to differentiate his bourbon, basically, or his whiskey at that time, by putting it in bottles and then taking the name in all of his product would be in bottles. Now, he was sourcing some of the stuff early on at this time, but he would source it from good, reputable distilleries, and then basically put the name of this mysterious Mr. Forester on there, who was a local pharmaceutical salesman, or a local pharmacist, actually. Everybody knew him quite well. And it was like, well, if Old Forester says it's okay, then that's probably a good sign that this probably won't kill me along the way. And he actually sourced it from very good distilleries and had a good thing going. Had it at a very good location on Louisville on the river, so he can get the stuff down the river if he needed to. Railroads were in the area at that time, so he could get stuff around. He basically had himself a hit on his hand very quickly. He started working with his Mr. Foreman, actually, George Foreman, of course. He was involved with him for a while, and they eventually formed what is now known as Brown Foreman, and still is from these original names.
Slightly important.
This company just grew and grew and grew and grew because it made great stuff. It started acquiring other distilleries throughout the area. Early Times at one point was associated with Old Forester, and then there was JTS Brown, who was related to George Brown as well, and he started becoming affiliated later on with the Four Roses story. So there's a lot of history that ties into Brown Foreman. Of course, Brown Foreman Old Forester was remarkable because it was one of only 6 distilleries that survived the Prohibition.
It's true.
Was actually allowed to make medicinal distillery, which now you had to get a doctor to actually write a script for you, because you had issues that were going on. You had to get rid of the bugs or whatever that were in your stomach from your bad food. So you had to get some good whiskey. So Brown Foreman got one of those exceptions then. So they kept distilling basically at 100 proof. We're going to get into that when we get up to the 1920 at the time. The reason why it's 115 proof. But basically, they produced all the way through the distillery and did quite well. Produced all the way through the Depression, as well as the Prohibition. And then they survived World War I. They survived World War II. they survived everything. So basically, Old Forester has been producing continuously since 1870, and that's pretty remarkable considering all things
really
considered.
Is.
Most places got, if the Depression didn't get them, the Prohibition certainly got them. If it wasn't that, World War II got them. Then eventually nobody wanted bourbon anymore. Everybody started getting into rum and vodka and all these other different things. And all of a sudden, all these famous companies went under. Well, not Old Forester. They hung on through the whole thing, and they just continued to grow and grow and grow. And then started putting, as in modern times, they started putting out some really remarkable stuff that really is right up our alley. They started doing the Whiskey Row series. They've always been located basically on, and by the way, they were located at 117 Main Street. That's where, as we'll go on later on, that's where the 117 series that we're going to get into later on in this comes from. But they've always been downtown. They moved to a different location for a while. Now they actually have the distillery that you can go to on Whiskey Row in Louisville. That only produces about 15% of their whiskey right now. Their main distillery is a little bit, about 10 minutes away down in Shively. And that's where they've been producing for quite a long time out there. But if you want to get a good idea as to how whiskey and bourbon is made in Louisville, you can go on the whiskey tour that they have down at Old Forester, and it is a great tour. It is really, really, really well done. It's in the original building they had back in the day. They secured it. It's an old brick building. It's beautiful to look at. They've made it good and strong these days, but Old Forester is a phenomenal distillery, and they're just making some really interesting, solid stuff these days. And we're going to go through some of that now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, so we're going to start out with the Old Forester. They're 86, which I like the fact that Old Forester is 80. This is their lowest proof is 86. There's no 80. They've always been 86. They've never gone lower, which I really appreciate, of course, being the first, like I said, first bourbon in bottle, because, as we all know, when you have a barrel, which is what most of them did, they dumped, tobacco, spit, kerosene, whatever the horrible things are, which is why, of course, and that's Violet making disgusting. This is what happens when you drink your disgusting whiskeys. You made that noise. So, one of the big things, of course, is why they got into the Bottle and Bond Act, which we have a bottle of that later on this evening as well. And they're one of the biggest was responsible for that act. So, all right. So let's start with that Port Eric here a little bit as well. So, like I said, this is the 86. It's your classic thing. Best thing is it's like $16, so you really can't beat the price. And it's just got, this classic Old Forester notes. I mean, it's got, obviously, if you like banana, that is kind of a requirement. But I enjoy banana quite a bit, so it's quite nice. The funny thing is, Old Forester and Jack Daniels both also Brown-Forman products, both have the banana note, but quite different colors, one being in Tennessee and one in Kentucky. But they do own their own cooperage, which is also very important to come to the factors. So, though, when you own your own cooperage, guess what you never run out of? Barrels. So they'll continue to have always great barrels. Where a lot of people are having shortages, they don't care. They own the forest.
And if you have a whiskey barrel and you're wondering where it came from, if you look on the bands that go around them, the hoops that go around, if you look at the rivets that hold them on there, if it's a Brown-Forman barrel, it'll have the letters B and B put on the two rivets out there. Jack Daniels, of course, is JD. And they have JJ as well for Jack Daniels. Most of the ones you'll see is MO, which is for Independent Stave out of Missouri. And you'll see a couple other different ones, mostly KY if it was made for a generic distillery in Kentucky out of Independent Stave. But that's one of the ways that you can tell. But they have their own complete cooperage that they run.
Oh, 60 hertz. Is there an 80 you get down there in New Zealand? Do you get an 80 down there? Which that would not surprise. I didn't think about the outside international. In the States, we don't get an 80. But yeah, you guys have the same problem with Jim Beam. You get that, 76 or some weird thing down there you get?
Export.
Yeah, export weirdness. You guys have strange things down there. Hey, JD, we did show off the cool vodka you sent, so just since you're now in here, but thank you very much. This is freaking awesome. Super stoked. We'll be reviewing this cool dry gin here in a near time and these awesome other samples you sent us. Hey, Cohen, yeah, I do agree with you, Cohen. Of course, that Lafroig is the most medicinal. Like they said, no one could possibly, unless it was medicine. Of course, that was the going joke with the Lafroig when they had the taxman check it out. They're like, yeah, no, this has got to be medicine. It's terrible. Of course, now we love it, but, it's fun for them, which is true. President's Choice is all those. I've never seen a bottle of President's Choice. I think I know someone who does have one, though, but I've never had it, so. Love to try it someday, but it's one of those random hard to gets. It is what it is. So say hi to Scott Moody. I know you showed up in here. like 60 hertz, Isaiah's, yeah. So all that fun stuff. So the zombie favorites. All right. So like I said, this is classic, just good stuff.
Great fruity notes to it. That's one of the things that Brown-Forman yeast is best known for. Old Forester really is just having great fruit notes. There's all sorts of nice little fruit notes that come out of it in all different forms. They start out lighter, and then as you go higher up and further in age, you start getting darker in color.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I think around the present choice, you're probably going to pretty much go to Kentucky to get that one and know someone.
That's right.
But I don't know anyone that well enough to get that. So, but I know someone who has one. So maybe somebody can try theirs when they open it. But yeah, like I said, solid stuff. I'll just leave it over here. All right, so we're going to move on over to the Signature 100, which I think is, to me, is one of my also favorites from them. $22. Can't really beat the price. 100 proof. There's not a whole lot more they're going to be. The funny thing is it's not ball and bond because they have another product that's ball and bond, so they don't need that. But still at 100 for $22, it's just solid whiskey.
If you're making an old fashioned, I tell you, nothing better for a good, simple, affordable old fashioned than using Old Forester 100.
There we go. I'll give you a dump too.
Absolutely.
All righty. So, like I said, the beautiful 100 signature, which is, I think you pretty much can find it most places. That's a pretty common one. You know, I think. Yeah. So in the UK market is also an 80. Interesting. But you can find it for £20. Okay, so at least the price is fair. Oh, it's a duty-free exclusive for you. But at least it's a liter. Okay, well, at least you can get it. That's a plus because, you know, unfortunately, I know getting bourbon outside of this country is quite painful for a lot of people. The price is rather exorbitant, unfortunately. Even for stuff that should be cheap here, not so cheap here.
And the standard mash bill for all the bourbons that Old Forester uses is 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malted barley, which is exactly the same mash bill as Woodford Reserve because that's also owned by Brown-Forman.
This is true.
But not nearly as old as Old Forester.
No, this is valid. Ain't no Wild Turkey 101 the same price. No, it tastes completely different than the Wild Turkey 1. Although the new Wild Turkey 1 is so sweet, comparably speaking to what it used to be. They're probably closer now than they used to with the more oaky punch of the old Wild Turkey 101 for today's stuff.
I hate karate.
Really getting lots of commentary this evening, which is super awesome. Yeah, they probably. I agree. The 100 proof, yeah, it's great mouthfeel. I totally agree, James. I think it's a significantly better product, but you never know. It's 300 times more in Lithuania. That's why I stick to Scotch. I don't blame you, JD. Yeah, I know it's outrageous pretty much out in other countries. The export on it is just, the tax is just insanity. It's a banana boat. Well, you're pretty accurate. They're calling. This is valid.
Caramel and chocolate too.
I'm not really sure why, Jack. I mean, okay. We all know it has to do with money. And I'm sure they gave her more money to come there. Now, I have not tried any of those Hidden Barn, but what I understand, it's not great. And maybe someday it'll improve, but, I guess if you get a larger paycheck, you take the money. And I guess that's what it is. That's happened with several people. So you write her a bigger check, she leaves. It's the way it goes sometimes. At the end of the day, if that's worth more to you, go ahead. Whatever works for her. The Statesman is cheaper than the 1870. I guess that's true here too. It is cheaper.
Within about $5.
Yeah. Yeah, the new 101 is a waste. We actually need to compare for you guys. We'll do that soon. The new Wild Turkey 101 to the old ones. I prefer the old one. Way better. It's too damn sweet. I'm like, this is not Wild Turkey supposed to taste like. I want to get punched in the face. That's why I like the 101. And now it's just like, it doesn't taste like 101 at all anymore. It's just too damn sweet.
If I wanted Buffalo Trace, I'd buy Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, for real, right? But yeah, good stuff. So, like I said, can't go wrong with Signature. Always a fabulous whiskey. All right, so let's see. Let's go on to
start working on the Whiskey Real ones.
That'll work. Let's do that.
Yeah, about 7 years ago, when bourbon wasn't the hottest thing in the world like it is right now, they started doing the Whiskey Row series. And each of these ones that we're going to go through were basically a significant milestone in the history of Old Forester and in the history of bourbon. And of course, the first one that they did was the 1870. Now, this is basically 3 different batches that they did from the distillery, and then they batched them together like they did with the 3 distilleries that they were sourcing from back then before they had their own distillery. And they batch it, they keep it at 90 proof, and do a really, really nice job on it. It's surprisingly good for, it's kind of, you'll always see this one usually on the shelf, still there, but it's actually a surprisingly good bourbon for the rep that it gets.
Yeah, usually it's like $47, $48 usually for the 1870 original batch. Which, of course, this being going back to the day, this was the original whiskey that Old Forester sold, which is why it's called the original batch when they first started putting it in to the bottle, which is, of course, the first bottled bourbon, which was this recipe. At least that's the theory.
And for the record, this is the new label.
This is true.
1870. Basically, as Old Forester had to keep up with the incredible demand that they've had in the last couple of years, they had to switch labels, but there's definitely absolutely a difference between the old label batches and the new label batches. And I suspect what it probably comes down to on that is they had to simplify things. They probably couldn't be as picky about the barrels that they used. So it's a little less in quality. You still recognize all of your products, the 1870, the 1897, the 1910, the 1920. But if you're able to get the old label ones, those are definitely better.
Yeah, I put the new ones in tonight for the simple fact that that's what you can pretty much buy now. We did a show comparing all of them, so you can go back and see that one, like I said, about a year ago. If you want to see the side by side of all the old and new labels, and thinking the entire thing, the new labels were not winners, unfortunately, compared to hey Jeffrey Wack, good to see you there. Well, you got 1920 for $36. That's a steal of a deal. Wow. Yeah, I would have bought a few more too. Yeah, that's a great price, Cohen. I'd love to pay $36 for the old label. New label's better. 1920 is the closest I think I remember of them, absolutely. But it is what it is.
The 1910 still flies off the shelves, but I still think the old one is better.
So much better. I think I've got backups, I think, of all of these and the original labels, but I bought the new labels for that show, so we're doing the new ones tonight. Pikesville was $36. That's a great price too, Colin. Very nice. That's really good. Yes, the benefit of the tasting pack, exactly what I bought, James. Yeah, they had it at the base, I think. I want to say it was like $55, the Class 6 for the 3-pack of the new ones, which was a steal of a deal. You want to empty?
Yeah, I'll take get these out of the way. Yeah, take a
So, all that good fun stuff. So, yeah, like I said, that's the original recipe. It's solid. It's good. Is it the most interesting, amazing whiskey? No, but it's good. And like I said, we'll give you guys individual reviews of all these sometime in the near future. Should start all those. You got 3 of the Pikesville. That was a great choice, Colin. Great choice.
Go with it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Show how good they can be.
Yeah, since this is 90 proof, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually cross over to the old single barrels here. Yeah. The old single barrels used to be 90 proof. It was only up to the last 2 years ago they finally went to cast strength. So yes, and this is old. This is no goody pick. This was from Warehouse K, and like I said, everything was 90. There was no other choice. Do you want it or not? It's 90 proof. And these back when I got this, I think it was about $45 back then. So they're also fairly priced.
And this really shows too how good some of the barrels can be. I mean, these single barrels, even if they're not great, they're still pretty good. And these are typically shown, the 90 now, the 100 proof is the black label. And the barrel strength version is the blue label one. We're going to get to that one later on too. And some of these can be shockingly good.
Yeah, so if you see these, and they are still sitting around, you'll find them occasionally. They'll sit on the shelf. Pick them up. They're really usually a good deal and quite a good whiskey.
Takes about 3 or 4 pours until they really, really, really open up. And when they open up, they could be stunningly good.
Yeah, and I find that to be the case with a lot of store picks, even, Andy, that a lot of them need a few pours and then sometimes a little water. Yeah. Just depends on the pick, obviously, but I usually find that makes it better. Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. This one, do you have a year on this one? I mean, this year's at least 5 or 6 years old. I'm trying to see if there's a year on it by chance.
That's got to be at least 4. I would think.
Let's see. We got a laser code. This would be like 2015 or something.
Oh, wow.
It was sitting on the shelf for a long time. But yeah, I can't complain. I knew it was an older bottle I've had for quite some time, but I'm not sad about it.
Yep.
It's quite nice. Like I said, see them, pick them up. They're still good. Not bad at all. 55 out there for MSRP for Pikes. Ooh, yeah, it's a little heavy. I think here it's usually about 47, so it's a little high. I've also seen as high as 60 in some other places around here when there seemed to be a shortage of Pikesville for whatever reason there for a bit, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. There was a shortage of Pikesville, but who knows? As an American needing pound, I pick up export documents for Bourbon Rye. It's a solid choice, James. I think it's a great choice. Yeah, that Maryland style, exactly. It's just barely rye, but it's delicious. 110 proof. That's good stuff there. I do like Pikesville a lot.
Southern sweet style.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yes, next is what's
Go with
Statesman? Yeah, that'll work.
And it does seem to have a different label on this one, but in a sense, this is actually part of the Whiskey Row series. This was actually done for a movie called The Kingsman, a sequel movie, actually. And I forget, what was the name of it? The Orange or something?
Golden Circle or
Golden
something.
Circle, I think that's it, yeah. And basically, the part in the movie, the G-men were basically disguising themselves as owners of a whiskey distillery, and Brown Foreman helped to make this. It was a steampunker kind of movie, basically back then. So they made this especially for the movie and to make it look like the thing. It's got a really cool label to it, but everyone really, really liked it, and it became quite a bit of a hit. It's the most banana forward by far. I think all the barrels that taste like bananas basically get dumped into the Statesman out there, but they put it at 95 proof. And it's a really nice product. If you have seen it on the shelf, but never could pull the trigger, give it a try. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. What I found is really funny, especially when Statesman came out. Every state liked it except for people in Kentucky. I found everybody from Kentucky seemed to really hate this one, but the rest of us seem to really like it. I find it to be a great whiskey. I really enjoy the hell out of Statesman. I think it's, I paid $40 for this. They sell it all the time. Like I said, it sold so well that it became a standard product because of that. But I think it's quite nice. Hey, Don, good to see you in here.
And
also, Tom, good to see you as well.
And if you see the movie, if you watch the movie, it actually
Great
plays.
movie.
You'll see it a few times. They actually use it as a prop in there several times, and it's there. It's pretty well done.
And it's a really good movie.
Yep.
I really enjoy it. If you like Colin Firth, he's in it from the main characters. Fabulous job. This one, Channing Tatum's in it. So if you're a fan of Channing Tatum with the ladies, I always enjoy him in Magic Mike. It's a good choice to watch that one.
You get some great banana notes. You start getting the classic cherry notes that Old Forester is so well known for. You'll even get a hint of coconut a lot of times in these Statesmen as well.
And there's our other buddy, the other Tom. Good to see you as well. And Spencer, good to see. I guess Spencer, he actually likes his 90 proof Old Forester barrel better. Oh, very cool. That works. Very nice. I'm saying I haven't had straight. Okay. 51% rye, they say 26 for more corn than the corn is contributing more alcohol than the rye. Please twice the starch content of rye. Oh, I did not know that. Interesting, Tom. Explains that. Well, people in Kentucky be drinking King of Kentucky and President's Choice. Valid, Cohen. If you had access to those, I understand. But since I don't, and probably never will, I did get a sample of the King of Kentucky courtesy of Dustin because he's an awesome guy. So I'm very excited. It is probably one of the best bourbons I've ever had in my life. I will say that about the King of Kentucky. You only get the OF86 and the Cage 1920. Okay. If I had a pick from the two, I obviously picked the 1920. Granted, what are they charging in Canada, Donald? Or is it something absurd as usual for your stuff? I understand. So your Statesman is the same price there, Spencer. Interesting. Here it's cheaper. That's very interesting. Matt, Hey, Magic Mike's got a third movie out right now. No, the only reason I care is Jenna Dewan, who I went to high school with, actually was married to him for a while. It's the only reason I give a crap. I just think it's funny. So it's just entertaining that she ends up being an A-list movie star after going to high school with her, and then she marries him of all people. They're divorced now, but it's just an interesting side note. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. You want to go on to the 1910?
Yeah, I think. That'll keep us on the 90s.
Yeah. So 1910, which is cool. So this one came out after the original 3 whiskey. They wanted to put something kind of in the middle, a little over. But the cool thing, this one is, it's the whole twice barreled, but it's also got that they had the fire and that whole concept. We don't know what it is and put it together. Turns out to be amazing whiskey. So.
Basically, what happened was they had in 1910, they had a little fire in the distillery. And the story I heard is they were basically installing some more of this relatively new stuff called electricity in there. And they had, they didn't exactly put all the fuses in and managed to set some of the wood from the old distillery on fire. But they had a very large vat of some ready to go whiskey sitting there. And while they got the distillery back online, they were trying to figure out what to do with this large amount of stuff. So they said, let's just put it in some new barrels and see what happens. And maybe no one will notice. Well, it turns out it was really, really, really good. And that was probably closer, I would think, to today's Woodford Reserve double oaked.
Yeah.
With the 1910, what they do is the second barrel, because it was a fire, they basically really, really, really char almost to the point of, destroyed the second barrel. And then they toast, then they mature. I think it's 18 months, I believe. Something like that in the second barrel. And it gives it some really dark espresso notes. You get some really nice dark chocolate and some pretty stuff. It's only 93 proof, but it's got a lot of character. And a lot of the women, I find, tend to really, really like the 1910.
Yeah, it's 19. Yeah, I think it's about $50 for the 1910. I really like. I'm glad they did add it. Like I said, all those chocolate and cocoa notes are just really nice. The espresso, which I think is fun. Well, yeah, Tom says you can get the 1.75 liter of the 86 for $35. That's a hell of a deal. Can't go wrong with that. $75 in Canada for the 1910 and $35 for the 86. Okay, that's a big difference, but it is a big difference in proof too, though. Joe says that 1910 is the best in his opinion. What is Kentucky without a fire at least once a decade? That's a valid point, Cohen. They seem to be really good at causing fires. There's this amazing called fire suppression systems. They didn't have them back then, so they just keep burning their shit down. It's like, we wouldn't want to install one of those. Why do that? It's fine. Just light half the damn river on fire, or half the town, or multiple, brick houses, or the entire whole damn distillery. Whatever.
They had buckets. They had buckets around the distillery. Sometimes they were full of water, too. So.
Yeah, super. Oh, crap, that one was full of booze. So James would like knows, what is your opinion in doing the 1910-1920 blend? Is it worth doing? We can always make a 1915, as they call it.
Yeah. It really is good. I think it rounds out what each one is missing. Very, very well. So if you do it straight half and half, pure 1915, it's a great combo. And it's really, really, I've heard rumor they're going to do this at some point officially, but I've yet to see it so far. But it really is well done. It's a great combo. Half 1910, half 1920.
I'd love to try the 117. Well, we got lucky enough that our buddy Brian, who the show's sponsored by, Pit Face Barbecue, let us borrow one because he was just in Kentucky, and our buddy, he got to take the tour. So Jake took the tour and was kind enough to buy the bottle and let Brian keep it. So Brian's like, here, you can even open it. So we opened it for the show tonight. So it's been open all of about 8 or 9 hours. So yeah, so it'll be fun. So John wants to know, what do you think, EC toasted or 1910? I probably like 1910 better. I like EC toasted, but I think 1910 is probably just better to me. So what's your opinion on that?
Depends on what you think of marshmallows. Like if you're Elijah Craig toasted is really, really good, rich toasted caramel. It's really, really pretty in its own right. I like the 1910 because I personally like the dark chocolate espresso kind of flavors in there. So it's kind of like your flavor of ice cream.
True.
It's whatever you like, whatever your palate likes is the right answer on that. they're both excellent. They're both allocated. Well, actually, no, the toasted is allocated right now, but it's still hard to get 1910 a lot of times because that's usually if something's going to sell out from the Whiskey Row, it's the 1910. It's going to be sold out every time.
Yeah, that's valid. Let's see. Joe says Heaven Hill likes to start fires a lot. They do seem to like to that, Joe. That's a valid point. And Cohen, that's true. They are insured. That's true, Cohen. They also like to pay large fines for it, so they've got that going for them.
That was an exceptional fire.
Yes, yes, it was. If you want to see a cool fire, go look it up online.
Yeah.
Look up Heaven Hill Fire.
Yep.
It's in a very enjoyable mode from being a watching shit burn. It's very entertaining. It's very bad, but it's very funny.
1996. Even the firemen said, "Nope, we're done. We're just gonna let it burn."
You can't put that shit out. It's a giant warehouse on fire. It's like forget it. But it's entertaining from just a historical standpoint. Watching an insane fire. Watch that it's on the YouTube. It's really nice. So Jason says I found the EC have a weird sour note that just didn't work. I could see, it's
understand
it makes sense.
If you're sensitive to that, you're gonna notice that for sure. Yeah.
Ooh, Joe says he saw 117 at a Bowman Field store the other day for $100 on the Taylorsville Road. Youch. Yeah, that's not cheap.
Which one was it?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. There's more than one. That's true. That's valid. I really thought the EC toast would get more love. Secondary market is higher. I agree than very close. Yeah, it is funny, though. You're right. I think EC toasted gets that because it is allocated. It's why it's simply the secondary is a higher markup on it. Whereas 1910, at least you can generally find it if you do a little bit of looking. Whereas EC, it's either out or it's not, and they got a case, maybe two if you're lucky. But those they come in, I think I've got a couple of them. I mean, they're well liked. I just for my palate, I prefer chocolate and espresso. So, but hey, they're not. I'm not going to say no if somebody hands it to me. But certainly, it's still a good whiskey. Just preference of one thing or the other. So that's exactly to tell the fireman, John. My place ever goes up to too much high proof. Well, that's probably valid for all of us that are watching. Valid point. Here we go. And Donald actually put an interesting article about distillery fire. So check out that article that Donald has posted. That's very good. And Donald, if you want, we can even post that into the Patreon later so we can go back and watch it. So remember the Patreon, we were posting cool articles and just kind of what's going on every couple of days or so. Put up some fun little posts, so if you guys can check that out. If you haven't joined Patreon, come do that. It's good fun times. All right, so let's go on to the Bottle and Bond.
Let's do. And this is actually an old label.
Yes, it is because I can't find. I don't know where it is. So I put up the new bottles. Don't know where the other one went. Somewhere here in the bar or in one of these boxes. I don't know where. So I grabbed this one instead because I couldn't find the old label.
The Whiskey Gnomes got it.
That's my guess. Whiskey Gnomes are very, very entertained with it right now. So, like I said, this is a Bottle and Bond of 1897. Of course, is when the Bottle and Bond Act, of course, as you know, Old Forester was key. Him and, of course, Colonel Taylor, Truth of Blends, kind of leading the whole charge. Bottle and Bond, as like we said, you don't want kerosene, tobacco spit, or whatever other disgusting things, or even just water. Mostly, it's usually those shit that'll kill you.
And the government absolutely loved this because a huge amount of the revenue for the United States government came from the taxes they got from overseeing these federally bonded warehouses. And it wasn't up until, I believe it was Woodrow Wilson, I think, started putting income tax in place when they started not making as much money off of the Bonded Act by about 1912, I believe it was. But it was a big moneymaker for the government.
Hey, Rough Spirits. Going to check out Marshall's channel. Rough Spirits. Good fun times there. Lots of rum, sometimes a whiskey. Mostly, but also good times. Yeah, I like E.H. Taylor Small Batch, but I understand if you don't like because the chill filtering, that totally makes sense. And like at $40, it's a good price. That I always find it's always good to pick them up and trade them for Scotch. That's what I find that E.H. Taylor is really good for. So that's always a good deal. Joe says the single barrel is usually really good. I agree with that. Oh, thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Oh yeah. So the Bottle and Bond, I think this is the first one I actually ever got of the series. Was this one? Yeah. And I remember when I bought this what was funny at the time was like, who would pay $50 for a bourbon? That's so stupid.
How times have changed.
No.
How they have changed.
Chocolate sauce.
Sorry, we always asked if she could make a yellow cake. The answer is no. Not make yellow cake this evening. If no frosting, and it's like 2 hours to make it.
It is chocolate
That's right. We didn't have income tax for person. Thanks, guys, so much for that. Oh, it'd only be for 7%, and it'll go away after that. No one ever pay more than that. How's that worked out for all of
That'll
us?
be on a little postcard.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's been super since. Thanks, IRS. Such wonderful people. The funniest thing about the Bond Act is that we took care of our whiskey before we took care of our food. Whiskey, very important. Food, and if it kills you, it's fine. Just drink more whiskey.
Whiskey is food, you know.
Exactly. It is corn. I mean, you know, it's valid. We call that corn juice. It's cool.
Here's where you really start getting some great chocolate notes.
Mhm.
Chocolate and cherry in this one as well. Oh, that's good.
It's good stuff. But yeah, it's like I think this bottle, yeah, probably was the same thing maybe around 2015, 16, something like that when I bought this one.
It's got the old green label on it.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's the
original
old
green label. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this is good stuff though.
And the way you tell on the whether it's an old label or not is if you look at the stamp
yeah.
that they have on there. The stamp is kind of like at an angle on there. The new ones are kind of straight and simple. They're usually all centered.
Yeah, these are. They also kind of look oldly. Like, let's see, where's the new ones? Down there. Yeah, it's different. Like, oh, nope.
Oh, too many bottles here.
That like that 19. Or like that 18. That'll work. That'll work. Yeah, so you can see these are all. So this is the new label. And it's just kind of all just on there. It's kind of boring.
Yep.
This is cool because it's got that old look, and it's like I said, it's off centered. It just looks more fun.
It's like a rubber stamp on the old style ones.
But yeah, like I said, I prefer all the old ones anyway. So it is what it is, but it's fun stuff. Thanks, guys. Know his favorite personally. Yeah, I don't blame you. There we go. It's good stuff. Can't really go wrong with 100 proof, at least 4 years old. Bond to me is always one of my favorite things in general. Like I said, at some point we'll do a cheap Bond night. There's a lot of really great Bonds. I was able to pick up our buddy Brian, also Pit Face Barbecue, picked me up a TW Samuels when he went up there with Logan for the Kona Ice convention. And in fact, we'll be having the Kona Ice and whiskey very soon for you guys. Now that COVID's over, because like I said, we got approved by Kona Ice's their corporate council said, yeah, we could do it. So we're going to go to Logan's truck and we're going to pour Kona Ice and pour whiskey into it. It's going to be awesome. So that'll be a fun episode for you guys here in the very near future, which I'm finally excited. We'll actually get to do it since we got approval for that 3 years ago.
Fun is finally allowed again.
Exactly. Yes. All right. So let's see here. Let's go on. Oh, yes. A fun Texas one.
Like we said, they're getting a little more creative now. And this was one that was done. We're going to do the King Ranch. Now, this is for anybody outside of Texas. This is a rather frustrating one. This was done entirely for the Texas market. And if you're a Wild Turkey fan, you probably know Long Branch. Matthew McConaughey, whatever his name is, one of those pretty boys, you know. Did that product. It does quite well. It's called Long Branch. It's, I believe, is it 90 proof or is it 95?
Long Branch is 86,
right?
8. Yeah, right? It's a lower proof one.
Well, in order for it to, really be in modern Texas, they had to, modern bourbon Texas, they had to jack it up. So this one comes in at 105 proof. And this was done for the famous King Ranch. If you ever had a Eddie Bauer edition or a lot of Ford cars, they have the King Ranch. It's kind of a luxury version for the most part. Now, seeing as Brown-Forman also owns Jack Daniel's, they're very good at Tennessee whiskey, which is basically filtered through some sugar maple charcoal. So what these guys decided to do was they said they're going to take some 5 to 7 year old aged mesquite trees, and they're going to basically charcoal the stuff, and then they're going to filter this a little bit older, we think, a little homage to the old label, Old Forester. They're going to filter it through the mesquite and give it a good mesquite flavor, but it's going to come in at 105 proof. And to its credit, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, of course, being Texans, this is something we really love because it's got King Ranch on it, which for us, it's cool because it's for Texans. And
that's right.
And originally it was only a Texas-only market. Somehow it made other places. Wonder how that happened.
Yeah. And don't worry if you didn't get it. It's coming around again. Basically, Old Forester got the message. I think they planned ahead for this. They assumed it was going to be a hit. and it is going to come out again. So if you missed it the first time, don't worry. It will come around again. You will get it at some point. It's worth trying. Some people are going to really enjoy it. If you like mesquite, you're going to enjoy it. But it's interesting because it's 105 proof, which is a kind of a non-standard number for Old Forester.
It really is. So I'm obviously a big fan of Old Forester, big fan of Long Branch. So it was fun to see a high proof version essentially of Long Branch. Big fan of Mathmiane. So it was just fun to see Old Forester going into that territory. So it's very entertaining in that. Let's say hi to Thirsty Oak. Good to see you. Oh, yeah. I love that mesquite flavor. So one of the things, the first thing, with mesquite that we get here in Texas, of course, is Andalusia. So it's like, so then we got Long Branch, then we got Old Forester. So I'm like, they're just really copying Andalusia is the conclusion I've come to. It's kind of a good smoked Texas bourbon. And granted, I know Andalusia is a single malt, but still, it's fun. Well, they say that every year, except for Jerry Jones, still continues to suck every single year because he can't pull his head out of his ass. But, good luck with that. The sad thing is when I was a kid, the Cowboys were great. My kids haven't seen the Cowboys do shit in 30 years. So it's like, great. they're going to be great. And then, no, they suck. Or they give it to the running back who can't run anymore because that's a brilliant choice. Don't give it to the guy who's fast as hell. Give it to that slow-ass guy. The game where they cut his ass the other day, so fine by me. But it's like, come on. But, I'm sure they'll fuck it up as usual because they're the Cowboys and they're good at it.
If Jerry could figure out how to cut himself, he'd be on something.
Yeah, biggest mistake there is they got rid of Jimmy Johnson. There was your freaking mistake. Yeah. I know my grandfather was a huge Cowboys fan. The funny thing is that he's from New York, but he was a huge Tom Laundry fan. And when Jerry fired him, I think he cried that day. He was so pissed off that he was not coaching here anymore. It's ridiculous. He's like, he was not a fan for a couple of years, but when Jimmy started winning again, then he was able to hang Cowboy stuff up again. So it worked out okay. But he was still displeased. So he still hates Jerry Jones. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he still hated him to the end.
It's nice.
That's a really good whiskey.
Nice.
I really like that. All righty, so we got here. Ooh, we got some fun stuff.
And now we can decide to cross over if we want. If we want to go over to rye, or do we want to save the nuclear weapons till the end?
Yeah, let's do the fun one, which we've never had before tonight. This one. Yep. So this is so the dogs had that. Where's the other one? Do we want to do this one? I think this one's lower for you. Let's do this one first. Yeah, so we're gonna save the 1920. We're gonna do one I've never had before this evening, which I'm super stoked. This is the Old Forester 117 series. This is the warehouse aged barrels. And so apparently they talk about heat cycling because it would get below 60 degrees. They started heat cycling. And so even the lower barrels would get higher proof than the upper barrels, which is very interesting. This is 49%. Like we said, thank you to our buddy Brian over at Pitface Barbecue. Go check out his amazing rubs, all that fun stuff. For him to cater some awesome meals, go check him out. Good stuff.
And that's one of the things that's most unique about, well, not unique, but notable about Old Forester is the heat cycling. Basically, Old Forester is not really the oldest whiskey that you're going to find most of the time, but it kind of tastes like it a lot of times because of the heat cycling. They're trying to manipulate the temperatures to try and get that whiskey to go in and out of the barrel and kind of age or appear to age a bit more on that. It works pretty well overall. It makes for some pretty compelling stuff, but certain warehouses, like with a lot of distilleries that have a lot of rick houses, you have some notable, interesting warehouses that have some pretty cool characteristics. Warehouse K is one of them.
Oh my gosh, Tom, that's hilarious. Heat cycling is Brown-Forman's version of stick in a bottle. That's hilarious. And Mr. Great Shot, good to see you. I do agree with you about the Andalusia. That's absolutely true. Oh, that's funny as hell. I'm sure Code appreciates that comment from Tom because I know how much he enjoyed the stick in a bottle.
And this one comes in at 98 proof.
Yes. Yeah, so the first time I have, so we're going to get you guys a full review. This is going to be reviewed in 2 weeks. We'll do the review for you guys and it'll come out after that. So we can thank Brian for this amazing bottle.
The problem with these is they're only available in Kentucky basically at the distillery or at select places.
And you have to take the tour. If you don't take the tour, you can't buy a bottle. So what we found out when they were there is it's all filled up by people who live in Kentucky and then to sell them as allocated. Such a wonderful system.
You got to figure it out in Kentucky.
So the way we figured to solve this, no Kentucky licenses get approval. Problem solved.
Yep.
Oh, I know, Cohen. We won't talk about it, but I knew it would entertain you.
And I think if I remember right, I think there are 4 117s out right now. The first one was High Angel Share, which is basically the higher up levels in the rick houses out there. Really concentrates the flavor in those. There's the Very Old, which is basically the 1910 aged a bit more. And then
this is good.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man.
There's
it's
one
all
other that I'm
candied
blanking on, but that's
it's like it's of course the typical banana, but it's just all these dark chocolate coffee, these dark caramels and butterscotch, kind of like creme brulee. Oh man, I can't wait. This is gonna be open for a couple of weeks, and this is gonna really open up before we do the review. This is stellar. That's really good.
Yes.
All right, well that's fantastic. So once again, thank you, Brian. That shit's awesome. I'm gonna sit this one over here and drink this one later because it's really good.
And this was one of Jackie's specialties. This is one of her pet projects, basically. So we're wondering what's going to happen. Is this going to continue, basically, now that she's moved on? But I hope it does.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's a limited run for sure, but we'll see what happens with this one.
Yeah, it is interesting, right, Andy, that it's because of the address and not the ABV. Like I said, before we got it, I knew nothing about it. And I was looking at the proof. I'm like, 49, because I was saying with you that it was going to be the proof. But yeah, like you said, it's the address. So it's super interesting that is the case for it.
117 Main Street in Louisville.
But I'm not sad. That's really good stuff. And that's true. You're right, Colin. Buffalo Trace does do a lot of that heat most of their rick houses. But they don't move it around the barrel like Brown Forman does. That is correct. You are correct. All righty.
Is that 1920?
Yeah, is that 19? Oh, I think it's 1920 down there, actually. That's the.
Oh, my bad.
Then we'll do 1920, which we all know is awesome.
Oh, yeah. And this will be new label, 1920.
I did not get the one Mr. Grape Shop of the latest Nancy Pick of Still Awesome. Cashmere. I did not have that one yet. All righty, so let's see here. So this is 1920. Of course, this is the Prohibition style. Obviously, Exponora, that's 1920. When that's when Prohibition went into effect. Well, like you said, they kept the medicinal license, so it's medicine at 115 proof. Yay for medicine. I'm not sad about that at all. Generally, it's been one of my favorite things. On these, usually about $55, which is worth every penny as far as I'm concerned.
But if you can get the old label.
Get the old label.
Get the old label.
So, yeah, that's the thing I'll probably be doing soon is hunting for old labels of Old Forester, Whiskey Rose series, and then old labels of Balcones Rye, because that's changing. So, but that's a different story for another day. Oh, yeah, still good stuff, though. You know you by name there now? Nice, Mr. Grape Shot. Very nice. Yes, great people there at Still Awesome. They are friends of ours. Love their stuff. We do usually get bottles from them, so they're great people. Chris Sells, the owner's fantastic guy. So anytime everybody's in town, go check out Still Awesome. Good, fun stuff.
Now, if there are 3 flavors that you could probably say that Old Forester is best known for, that'd probably be chocolate, cherry for certain, and definitely hints of banana in there. So if you're into chocolate, cherry, banana, there's a good chance you're going to like the Old Forester line.
That's exactly what you get in this. Yeah. Except for like more explosions of all 3.
Yep.
And then wrapped in like a cake or a bread. It's really freaking good. If you like high proof, it's fabulous. That's a good point too, Cohen. Dickel is one that actually tastes like medicine. Children's artificial orange cough syrup. You are correct. Yep. That and some Flintstone vitamins.
Yabba dabba doo.
It's not good. It's funny. When we were in the vault, my wife found some non-dickly Dickel, which was really nice, which I did appreciate. I was like, oh, this is like good. It was really good. And it was a blind, and she's like, oh, it was I think it was a Dickel Select. So, and then one was a Dickel Ball and Bond. So those were really good because they don't have that horrible Dickel note that I'm not generally a fan of. It's all right, but it's not great. Good choice, James. Yeah, I got to definitely get 2 or 3 backups of the original rye because I love that rye. I don't want to have. I'm down to like this much, so I need to go pick up some more of those old ryes. Because yeah, the new rye is going to be Elbon rye 100%. So whereas the other one's that 4 different types of rye. So Donald, you still haven't had Dickel. I can add Dickel to your package if you'd like. I'm happy to send you a bottle. with your other stuff that's good. But I mean, if you want one, I'm happy to send you one, Donald, because I know you're gonna meet up with Ben. So I'll send it with Ben if you like one.
You got to punch your dickle ticket.
That's right. I'll send you the probably the most dickly one. Because why wouldn't you want that one? No, this is good. You can't go wrong. 115 proof.
It's still good.
It's
the
great.
New label. It's still good.
Yeah, this is the closest of all of them, so that has changed the least, I think. So this one is not so bad. If you only find the new one, you should be all right picking it up.
And if you're a high proof guy, 1920 all day. If you're more mellow, that 1910, it's got a lot of appeal to it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Love that chocolate malt. Absolutely.
We want to go new. Oh, and by the way, almost all of these have probably been purchased at some point at Mirage Fine Spirits in Colleyville.
There's a really good chance almost all of them will come from there.
I think we might have almost 100% on these.
The only ones that haven't been purchased there, I think, was probably the new minis that I found at the base. I think probably every other bottle's from Mirage.
And the 117. That's
the 117's from there. Yeah.
You want to go nuclear? Do you want to go with the Mirage picks?
That's fine. So the cool thing is, Mirage did 2 picks. So back in the day, I got to actually help pick the original pick, which was really fun for this Old Forester. The very first pick I actually ever saw out of for Old Forester. And then they just got a new pick in that's also, of course, already sold out. So I'm excited to compare these two and see. So we've got this one. So what's the difference here?
Basically the 4.
Okay.
One's G and one's H, and then 4-2 going up to, I think, 6.
Yeah. So the original one was Warehouse H, Floor 2, 62.9, so 125.8. And the new one is Warehouse I, Floor 6, at 64.55, went to 129.1. So this should be a very fun comparison. I'm going to have to. Don't you get 2 glasses? Here, I'm going to grab
second one.
New glasses. We're getting new glasses. We want to make sure this is unbiased. Nothing else has been filtered in the glass. Very important here.
We try and blind ourselves. But
I just haven't had the new one, so I'm excited to try it. So this will be fun.
And the barrel proofs are always noted by the blue label. And boy, I tell you, you want to see people get excited when they come into a store. When they see that blue label, it makes everyone just a little giddy. With good cause. It's just great stuff.
Yeah, so we can't go wrong. I figure we'll pour both of them because why not? We've had a few of the Blue Blues out in California. Keep them as backup. Pretty good stuff. Totally agree. All right, so we'll do the 125.8. Ooh, the Del Bach from Mirage and live in Alabama. Very nice. Del Bach is good stuff. Do love Del Bach. Yeah, that's one distillery that needs more love is Del Bach. That I just think is really spectacular stuff. All right, so we got that. All right, so that's the original pick, and this is the new pick. So that hue got a little bit different. I think it's the same. It's just the lighting. All right. Ooh, Glenmorangie Signet. Oh, the chocolate malt is so good. I do love that one. Really? I didn't know they made one. So the Loch McMillan makes one as well. Interesting. I have not seen that. If I could find that one someday. So one of the great things about being in the vault, I finally got to try J.P. Weiser's 35 that Donald had recommended.
Yep.
Holy shit.
It's good.
That is one of the best whiskeys I think I've ever had. That was truly marvelous stuff. Yeah, Stephanie and I both thought, wow, that is some spectacular Canadian whiskey. Truly magical stuff.
Stuff they don't send to us here.
Yeah, we don't get that here. So I was really, really glad to get a chance to finally try that whiskey. And it was, that was spectacular. Cannot go wrong with that. All right, let's see what we think of these two.
Oh, you'll feel your nose hairs when you take your first nosing. Wow.
Huh. Got a little more pear on the original one, which is interesting. That's not usually find. It's almost like those pear drop candies. That sort of reminds me of as the big difference on these. Reminds you of Ovaltine. Ah, yes, Ovaltine. Always a funny note on was it Kenny on Seinfeld that talks about Ovaltine all the time.
That's right.
Mmm. Oh, can't go wrong with Mr. Grape Shot. Thomas Box Flaming Heart. Which year the Flaming Heart are you drinking, Mr. Grape Shot? Hey, Cliffy, good to see you there. Bourbon Bites. You haven't checked out Clifton Shell, another great whiskey tube channel. Go check out Clifton Shell. Have a good time. He reviews all sorts of cool stuff, and he reviews pretty much everything like we do. So he's a good, fun guy. Donald made you about a local store. Nice. Good job, Clifton. That's a hell of a good job. Picked an Old Carter Beast, number 3 for $2.75 a day. Oh, yeah. I've not had the number 3. That's not a bad price, actually, Joe. Old Carter, to me, is really, really good stuff. So I have not had a bad Old Carter, so I don't think you should be sad about that at all. That should be a really good whiskey for you. I like both their ryes and bourbons. But I think you should be very happy about it. And that's a pretty fair price on that one. Hey, we appreciate it there, Clifton, as always. Always enjoy it. Yeah, I have the same problem. We're busy using these crap as well. So I totally understand it completely. Yeah, I figured you meant lives instead of livers. You know, liver's great. I mean, it's not a bad thing to eat. I'm not bad at it, but generally don't watch them.
Lots of iron.
Mm-hmm. Oh. The new one is more chocolatey, more cherry.
Yep.
And even the viscosity is like a little bit, is thicker, higher. Wow.
It's higher up.
That's an even better pick. Shit. Like I said, I wasn't involved in the second. I was involved in the first one. I thought it was a great pick. It's even better.
This is like, from what I understand, this is like the High Angel Share 117 series. It's just higher up in the rick house and just
it's higher proof.
Concentrates that
but
flavor.
he doesn't drink 129 at all.
Yes, that's right.
He drinks more like 105. That's crazy.
Oh, now I'm getting that pear note.
That is spectacular. I got like a chocolate pound cake, chocolate truffles. Good Lord. That's just stupid. I'm glad I got one of those. I just had not opened yet. So, woo!
And we can entirely blame William at Mirage on this one. He was the one who picked this one.
Well, hell of a job, William.
Oh, he nailed it.
That was
he nailed it.
Wow.
Yep.
That is a great pick. Yeah, this is definitely better. This has improved certainly since his original pick. I think it was 2 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is pretty great. Cannot go wrong with that. Yep. And when I open mine, Clifton, I'm happy to send you a sample when I open mine up. So I can always have another collaboration. I know it's been a while, so we should probably do that sometime soon. And always enjoy having you on the show.
The old one's still pretty good.
Oh, it's right. You're not going to bitch and moan. It's still a really great whiskey. If anyone goes, oh, you don't want really amazing whiskey? Darn. The best part, these things were what, like, I think the original one, I think these were $75, $80. And these were like
80 and 89.
89, yeah. It's like, so they got up $10. Big deal.
We'll take it.
And it's an over a couple with today's inflation. It's a hell of a deal. Yes, they're allocated, obviously, and they sell out pretty much as soon as they come in. But to get it on it, it's a hell of a deal.
You want to get a line in front of a store.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them you got an Old Forester barrel proof. Yeah, you'll get a line in no time.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That's good.
It's good. It's really good. All right, so we'll do the one now. Granted, it's going to lower proof, but we do have to save the most special bourbon that they make that I can get a hold of, besides like the Presidents or those 150s or any of those things. I don't have any of those, but we do have Old Forester Birthday Bourbon, which, of course, every year comes out on September 2nd in the honor of their founder. So
George Garwin Brown's birthday.
when he likes to have his birthday, they release his bourbon.
And they've changed the rules at the distillery now because apparently there were too many people camping out on like August 31st, September 1st, waiting, camping out in the middle of Louisville. It's hard to camp out on concrete. So they finally, the city finally said, no, that's not a good idea. We don't want that to happen anymore. So they've changed their release method, I believe, to a full lottery system right now. But the rule is you've got to come pick it up, as I understand it, in Louisville, which if you, get picked, but you happen to live in, Massachusetts or Oregon, got to get on a jet if you're going to get to that one. But you got a birthday bourbon, so you might want to go to Louisville at that point.
So it's definitely the most fun, unique bottle shapes that I think there is to look like a cake, obviously. It's cool. I remember the first time I ever tried was the 16, and I got a 17. I actually got that at Mirage. This was back when we really kind of knew what birthday bourbon was, because I had just been reading and scouring websites. And I said, William, it's my birthday soon. Do you happen to have me this Old Forester birthday bourbon? He's like, I just might have one in the back for you. It's your birthday. Here you go. $100. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
I think the first year it came out, if I remember it, I think was 2012.
Sounds right. I'm pretty sure that's right. But yeah, they are. It's bulbous. There you go. Exactly. Quite good. Yeah, I can't go wrong. So I've got 17 through 20 of these. I know Buddy's got a 21, and I heard 22 is not great. So from many people, so I'm glad I don't have that one.
That was the last one people waited on the sidewalk for, and they're good.
Oh, this smells so good. Now, like I said, this is 12 years old. This does come down in proof forms. What's the proof on this year? This one's 101 proof on this one. So still a nice proof on it. 12 years old, 101. It's so decadent, like as it should be. It's like a cake.
That is fabulous.
We call that really good scotch, Clifton. That's the solution to that. Trade that for really good scotch. Because you can get a pretty penny for that one.
You imagine a really good scotch aged in one of these bourbon barrels?
That would be some. Oh. I like the marketing of that. They do own some scotch distilleries last time I checked. They call them Glendronach.
Glendronach, that's
and
right.
Menrick and Glassow. The three they own. So, hey guys, there's a marketing idea. Put some birthday bourbon and make some awesome scotch in it. I bet it's already happening. Would not be surprised.
Be intriguing.
So people here in LA reside in concrete silos and tents. They're waiting for nothing but Cohen, you're not wrong. It's a valid point.
Life in LA.
Oh,
modern LA.
Yes, Skid Row, super place. Wow, that's really funny though. Hey, old Humboldt, still in company. Good to see you there. Good to see you. We actually was down judging the Texas Whiskey Festival. I know we judged one of yours, so cheers to you on that. So thanks for your submission. Good fun times.
I think I'm just going to donate one single drop to the dump thing of this.
Yeah. I'm going to finish most of it because it's freaking awesome.
There it goes.
There we go. There's my drops.
Seems like sacrilege if I did.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, so we're going to switch over to their other mash bill. They have one other mash bill.
Yes.
Rye.
This is an interesting one. This came out in 2019 because people said, Manhattans, the millennials started discovering that, Manhattans are pretty cool. And rye started making a bit of a comeback. And rye was pretty much best. The 20th century, if you got a rye in the last maybe 100 years, it's probably an Old Overholt.
Really good.
That's West. When you think of the Whiskey Rebellion, in the 1790s, you think of West Pennsylvania rye. And that pretty much the lone great survivor of that is Old Overholt. It's now owned, I believe, by Jim Beam, I think.
That's correct.
I remember right? Yeah. You'll see the olds as they advertise. You'll have Old Granddad and Old Overholt. They're in the same bottles now, actually, today.
Yep.
But there were a lot of other ryes. Now, America was basically covered in rye, and the immigrants who came to America, a lot of times when they came from Germany and a lot of places, they would actually sow some seeds of rye into their, into their clothing as they came over here, and they would plant those seeds over there to make sure they had the old world ryes out there. So rye has been, if you really think of the whiskey of America, rye was it. And if you go all the way back in history with, prior to basically Old Forester and Brown-Forman bought the Normandy rye brand in 1940. Right. Now, it was completely defunct at that point because it basically died during the Prohibition. Mm-hmm. But this is a picture of Joseph R. Peebles and Company. These were the guys, the distillers, who actually made that back in the 1890s. That's an 1890s advertising thing from a thing I found on Google online out there. And they were quite a distillery for a while. And they were actually in, when you think of OKI, that's a famous set of letters in bourbon history. There was Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana. If you look at this one here, if you got a chance, if you go back and refeed on this one and freeze this one, you'll see that this was Live Oak Distillery that made the Normandy Rye. They're actually out of Cincinnati, Ohio. So basically, Old Forester bought this defunct in the rights to the name and the formulation to this in 1940. They didn't do anything with it because rye was, people were into bourbon. Yeah. You know, rum, vodka was a thing for a long time. Nobody really much cared about it. So when the millennials and everyone started rediscovering rye, you know, in the last 10 years, they're like, we need to make a rye. So they aged it 4 years. They brought back what was called the Normandy Rye. And the formulation, I believe, is 65% rye, 20% barley. And then the remaining 10%, 15%, whatever it is, in corn. So it's a rather unusual combination out there. And we'll see what it tastes like here. Because that is not your typical combination. You usually get either 95.5, which is the classic MGP, or the old Overholt style Western Pennsylvania rye, or you get a sweet rye, the barely legal ryes, which were better known as the Maryland ryes. The good example of that today is Sagamore Hill, or Sagamore Spirits, actually, showing my New York heritage right there. But and that's usually 51% rye and then predominantly corn. That's what makes it a sweet rye, a southern rye, compared to the northern rye, which is the Pennsylvania rye. But this one is 65% rye and then 20% barley, or 25% barley. So you get some different flavor notes that come out in this. So if you want to try a rye that's truly different than the typical ryes that you see, which is either a sweet rye or a 95.5 rye, this is a really interesting one to try.
And 100 proof.
And it's 100 proof.
Which is really nice, because a lot of them are 90 or less.
That's right.
Which I appreciate. Like Old Overholt, you're right. 11 was really good, John. I was able to get a hold of 114 proof Old Overholt, so each of you guys are reviewing that really soon. Really good stuff. His Old Overholt page in Ohio. No, it's not. But yeah, it's pretty wild that they hold on to that recipe for all those years. They bought the rights to it. And there's no way. I know when I started my collection, I maybe had like 6 or 7 ryes. That was it. I bought all the ryes I could find, and there just wasn't else out there. Now I have a couple hundred different ryes. So I mean, and I love rye. So and I'm all for as many cool, wild, fascinating ryes you can get a hold of. So as unique, like I said, unique mash bill, really good stuff. Love it. And like I said, a Sazerac, it's really fun with that. Sazerac is always also a good rye, obviously. There's just a lot of really cool, fun, great ryes out there now. Some of the best whiskey I've ever had have been ryes at this point. So you can't go wrong with the original whiskey, essentially, in America being rye and not bourbon. And it's nice to see the comeback. Like I said, Overholt, for a while, Old Overholt was the only rye in the market. There was nothing else. And it was just the cheap 4 years old. There's the 3-year-old. They think they've pretty much got rid of that. Now it's an 86 proof non-show filtered. And then they have the bottle and bond 4-year, which is nice. So they've just got then the 114 and the 11-year, which those only came to a few states, though. Ooh, pumpernickel rye. It's very good. It's right. I've had that in Middle West Spirits. That's actually really fun stuff, Cohen.
That was the soda in their pockets. That's right.
Yeah, we'll actually know the guys there. We'll have, if you guys want, we can get Middle West Spirits on the show. And we'll have them come on for you guys, because that's actually be a really good one to come on. They're unique and different. So that would be fun. Oh, I did like your double oaks there, Joe, from Old Humble. That was actually really enjoyed that one. That was fun stuff. So
I'd really like Matt for you to tell me your tasting notes on this. This is a fresh crack, basically.
Yeah, because I know we've reviewed this, but it's been like 2 or 3 years at this point. You still get the chocolate, which is interesting. Which is the thumbprint here, clearly of Old Forester.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's with your cuts, obviously getting that. You still get your banana, but you really get like that pumpernickel bread is the big thing on there. Brown cracked bread, a little bit of oat, barley. It's also got this, like, when you open up a bag of like food, like animal food, like either like dog food or cat food, like when you open the bag up, got that. I even almost say like a horse oats when you open that up.
Now I've had
Interesting.
I've had one that was about halfway down. It was actually a liter bottle. In fact, to promote this, initially Old Forester put these out in liter bottles.
Oh.
Now they're back down to 750s. But in that liter bottle, when it was about halfway down, I started getting a mint note to it, almost like an Andes Candies, kind of like a chocolate mint note to it. I really, really, really like that.
Yeah.
I don't think you catch it as much now. It's pretty much pure chocolate as
it's pretty much
as a fresh
mint,
crack. But as it goes further down and gets some more air into it, you start getting this chocolate mint kind of note to it. That's just really cool.
You're right, Clifton. You don't see it at a lot of bars, and I wish they would carry it. It's like $22 a bottle. It's not expensive.
And it's 100 proof.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really beat it. It is like I said, it is different, unique rye, but I really like this rye. It's a fun, really fantastic, fun rye, and like I said, great for cocktails. Yeah, I wish more bars would carry this. I don't know why they don't. Maybe Old Forester doesn't push this one enough, and maybe their reps need to start pushing this one a little bit more.
Most people lean towards the Knob Creek rye.
Yeah,
right.
It's cheaper.
Good rye.
Yeah, I can't say bye. All right, there. Wisconsin making some killer ryes. Oh yes, they are. Absolutely, John. I've had Traverse City's rye. Oh my gosh, that's Michigan, but that's that magnificent Ferrari cask. But what's the Driftless Glen. Driftless Glen, that's probably some of my favorite ryes I've ever had coming out of there. That's really good stuff. I really, really like the ryes. I'm trying to think, what are some other good ryes you've had out of there, John, that I know? I think mostly I've had bourbons out of Wisconsin, but now also because the rye from Hatch is sourced the one I've had at the time, and then I know the one over at Door County Distillery. That's theirs, but it was only like 18 months old when I had it. It was good. It just needs to be older. So I actually like to try some of their stuff now because it's all been aged longer. So it's good, fun stuff. So, but yeah, I do love good Midwest rye seems to really be up and coming. So this summer we're going up to Minnesota, going to the Vickery Distillery. So I'm very excited to see what they've got. So I've had some stuff from a few years ago from Vickery. So it'll be a good time. Oh yeah, the Great Northern. That was good stuff. Yeah, I like that stuff, John. That was really good. Good stuff. Richmond Rye from 40th Parallel. Do you like 40th Parallel? Yeah, good stuff too there. Yes, a lot of fun stuff coming out of Wisconsin, certainly. That's good stuff. All right, so we got the least, but not last.
And being, we're down here in Texas, when somebody puts out something at 100 proof and they say, oh, that's really good. Well, what would it be like at Cask Strength? And that is one of the great things to their credit about Old Forester is when enough people start saying, hey, that's really cool. We'd like to see something different. Would you be willing to try this? Would you willing to, go for this? They actually listen. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly how this one came about here.
Yep. This was the one I got for my birthday also from Mirage a couple years ago. And
because
I really wanted one of these bad. I was
we saved that one for you.
Oh, I know. And I really appreciate it. I was like, William, I really would want one of these. So thankfully he acquiesced to this amazing rye. So yeah, so this is like I said, this comes in at 63.65, so 127.3. This is Warehouse G, Floor 3. Yeah. So also same mash bill as the regular rye, just at barrel strength. Can't go wrong with that. All right, Cali Ryes. So what are some good Cali Ryes, Con? I don't really know anything about any Cali Ryes that I'm aware of besides, I guess, what is it? What's the Grizzly Bear on it? That new one, Redwood Empire. Yeah, that's the one I can think of. Okay, Rocket Top. That's right. That's what it's called. Okay, so Old Humble says, we'll be giving away a bottle of our bourbon, a shot glass, and a shot glass tote at 2,000 subscriber stores at the end of the month. So if you guys go check out that with their Old Humble, it'd be great. Oh, Old Potrero. I do like that one, Tom. Yeah. It's a fun malted rye. Love malted rye. 18th century style stuff. Oh, that's good shit.
Fritz Maytag.
That is one of the more unique ryes in the market, but I really, really like it. So that's fun stuff. We did the Old Forester 100. We did the signature. It was like the second one we did, Tom. We got to that one very early. It was very good, just to let you know.
One of the things about these are real single barrels, too. One of the earliest reviews I saw done on this, cast strength rye was done by Jason C. on the Mash and Drum, and his barrel was totally lemon. It had a lemon all over on it.
Interesting.
He was just lemon through the whole thing. And he said since then, he's tried a couple since then, not a single one of them had a lemon note to it. So a lot of citrus, but not the lemon. And we'll let Matt take over from there.
Yeah. So Tom, we did review the original 600. It was like 3 to 4 years ago. So if you want to go back and watch that review, like that's a really old review. But there is a full review of that one. If you go back and see the episode, it will review the 86 and the Signature 100 together. It's one of our probably first 10 to 20 reviews we ever did. So can't tell you it's a great review, but go back and watch that if you want to see that. In fact, I think it's actually got the history also of Old Forester on that one. Yeah. But go check that one out. So if you want to go see the true in-depth review of that one. Mostly it's just this is good on this part. So because we don't give huge takes on this because it's a fun time and you blows up. But yeah, I wonder if Jason has any of that left. So we can see compare to this one. That'd be fun. Mm-hmm. So Corbin Cash, Old Show, Spirit Works, all around con. I've never had any of the Corbin Cash or Spirit Works. Interesting. All right, I'd love to try those at some point. Give those a whirl if they come here to Texas. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
I tend to orient towards the Russell single barrels, and those usually I find typically have kind of an orange citrus note to them. So we'll let Matt pick up on the tasting notes for this one here.
All righty. Let's see what we think here. Oh, very cool. That's good to know, James. Very nice. Glad to hear that. Lobby and Sean are enjoying that. Awesome.
The Oracle speaks.
Yeah, so like I said, I want you to give you chocolate, but this has a lot of orange citrus on it, not lemon. This is very much more orange.
Yeah.
Like a mandarin orange or the little cutie, something like that. Probably the best one. You do taste a lot of the barley, which makes sense being in the mash bill. It's got a lot of granola to it, a lot of melted butter, like a cracked brown bread. This doesn't get that pumpernickel still. It's just really freaking good. Of course, it's high proof, which is fabulous. This is a really, really good whiskey. So, damn good stuff. Oh, Nancy's giving advice in the chat. Very nice, James. Very nice. Love the Russell single barrel rye. You know what? I'm trying to think if I have one of those. I probably do somewhere. I know I've got the old 6-year. I'm pretty sure I have an old Russell single barrel rye, but I don't remember. I'd have one. It's probably from 5 or 6 years ago. But I know I have to look that one up in the old spreadsheet there. Oh, that Sagamore sherry import. Oh, those are good, Tom. So I'm of course a huge Sagamore fan. Of course, we are friends with Sagamore. Have been big supporters of them for a long time. Good friends with them. Yeah. So had a really great chance to have Tim on the show a couple of times and done some really fun events with Tim and just good people do really good fun stuff with Sagamore. But love their stuff.
That's the Midwinter Night Dram killer as far as I'm concerned. Yep.
Oh, yeah. And I think Sagamore only gets better and Midwinter Drams gets worse. That's what seems to be so I'm not sad we didn't get the 10 this year. Everybody I've heard it said was not great. So I'm really glad I just didn't bother. We sent someone to get it, but by the time they got there, it was sold out, which that's life. But, glad I didn't spend the money. I don't need it, apparently, so fine by me. We're buying a less barley. Just dropped 100 on a 55-pound sack of Baird's heavily peated malted barley. Nice. That's awesome. 60 hertz. There you go. Sagamore Reserve Series. Always good stuff. Yep. Pretty much everything we have for Sagamore is really good to fucking amazing. That's pretty much how I review anything from Sagamore. We reviewed a lot of Sagamore. I think we only have a couple we haven't reviewed that have got. I think it's only to review the sherry and the tequila cask. The other two I think are sitting here need to be reviewed.
A true Maryland rye from Maryland.
Nice. That's awesome, Tom. Very cool. Oh, you live near, I guess you live. Hey, there's our buddy Erik. Wait, good to see you. Perfect pairing with corn dogs and baked beans. I'm sure it is, Erik. Absolutely. Yes, they do, Joe, for sure. 7 or 8 cast iron balls in the future. Oh yes, good stuff. Frey wrench, yeah, you let us borrow. We actually didn't review the one because Eric actually gave us a ball to review the borrow for his Frey wrench, which we need to borrow. We haven't.
I found ice
Oh, lovely. What is that?
cream. Ice cream.
Okay, well you go eat that somewhere else. I don't want that. That you can take that. Please get that out of here before you make a mess. My daughter's brought me some gross concoction in a bowl. That I don't.
It's ice cream.
Okay, well, please take it. Please, I don't want that in here. Ugh. Disgusting. Just left me a bowl of something.
It's ice cream.
Sure it is. You never know what experiment she leaves us. I don't trust anything she gives me to eat. It's usually something horrible. She'll make it look like something, but it's usually something you don't want to eat.
Treachery.
Yeah, I'll find out what that is later. I don't want to know. So anyway, yeah. So that's the usual fun Violet telling us fun things. So, all right. So you prefer the Pennsylvania rye over the Maryland style for Maryland? Yeah, I understand. That makes sense. It's one of those you that are like that really. I mean, that sharp rye or that softer rye, I guess, would be the best way to describe those. But I like both. It just really depends on what you're doing. So you guys are ramping up production, expecting expanding sales. I don't think they realize how much their stuff will blow up. So it's just that good. Oh, I agree, Tom. Yeah, they've done a really good job. They did a really good job sourcing and source really good stuff, and then bring it there with the Sagamore water, and just they've done a really great job.
Good guys too.
Yep, absolutely fantastic people. So add your bourbon as a treat. There you go, James. Solid choice. Well, we can't really go wrong with that. Anything else you want to add about any of the ones we don't have tonight?
President's choice. That's a hard one to get.
Never seen it. Never tried it.
Speaking of Kentucky only, yeah, that's
Yeah.
The mint julep. They put that out for the Kentucky Derby.
I actually had the Mitchell. I forgot
Yeah.
to pull that tonight.
Yeah,
We've reviewed it, so you guys want to check out the review. It's actually shockingly good.
Yep.
And for this year's Kentucky Derby, we'll be doing the Maker's Mark version for you guys. Because, and I always love to make Will drink those things as for my entertainment. So at this point. So speaking of the fun things coming out for reviews, this week should be, we had some fun, should be the Fighting 69th Regiment, which is fun Irish whiskey, and the new Hibiki Blossom, which Eric let us borrow. It is a fantastic Japanese. And then it will be the Balcones Rumble, which I know is not a liqueur, but it's also not a whiskey. It's supposed to be spirit. So we threw that on the Saturday episode, and it's really good stuff.
and it's Balcones.
And it's Balcones. It'll be like our 20th review of Balcones because we love Balcones. Not that anyone here is surprised by this. I see no Kentucky. Am I disappointed? I wish I had Kentucky. Because I've got a sample from Dustin that's awesome, super great stuff. But no, I do not have a bottle of King of Kentucky. If I ever had a bottle, we will certainly bring it on. But I don't have one. I would love to have one someday. But I'm not going to think, why did you bring the cat up here? Put Midnight down. Why? Oh, this is Midnight. Okay, don't take Midnight down.
Kitty.
Oh, careful.
Sorry.
Well, you scared the cat.
Okay, we'll put Midnight down. Okay, it's fine. You didn't break anything. Just go. Put Midnight down. That's the cat. Apparently, Violet really needs to see everyone to see the cat. So it's all good. Old Forester and Kellogg's. There you go. Charlotte and bring on the new Texas only funky Balcones rums. Yes, absolutely, Cohen. I think we reviewed all the rums that I currently have from them. I think we reviewed the peated one, the regular one, and their cash. So that's all I've got at the moment. But I know in May they're supposed to release some new, more funky, more dunder rums. So as soon as I can get a hold of those, we will certainly bring those on for you guys. Does Old Forester make an eggnog? I don't think so, but wouldn't put it past them. They make everything else, or they're probably one of their other brands around for them probably does. But if you want an old eggnog, we can always review an old smoky eggnog just for you. That's not a problem. I've got some of those. I have lots of fun things like that. We only have like 50 plus Old Smoky to review, which I know Will's super excited about. But I'm not. I love Old Smoky. Good people out there and good stuff. So this is fun. I'm not sure what next week's episode is going to be, and I know a couple weeks from now, 3 weeks, we'll be doing. Casey Jones will actually be here, which is a new distillery out of Kentucky. They'll be here at the house. One of their minority owners will be here, and Really good up and coming Kentucky distillery that I'm very impressed. Young, but really good stuff. So something to get on the young side. So it'd be fun for you guys to give that a whirl. He's super knowledgeable. It'll be a lot of fun to have them on as well. So it's all good. And if anyone else has any other questions about Old Forester, we're probably going to sign off here because it's 11:05. And I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to add?
It's a school night. So.
It's also school night. The kids have to go to school. Not that my kid ever sleeps, but you know, his does. Mine doesn't.
Occasionally.
All right, everybody. This was a fantastic evening, and we will see you guys next week. Just wanted to thank you guys very much, and cheers to everyone. See you everybody next week. Thanks, guys. Good night.